What's going on, guys? You guys are tuning into the Night Crew podcast, where we shine a light on people, the stories, and the realities that come alive in the dark. I'm your host, Eric, a night shift lifer, a private security vet, and an owner, and someone who has seen the industry from the inside. Tonight, I want to invite you into a special podcast of a private security company who overstepped their boundaries, and a deep look into Lear Asset Management. Let's go!
The nights are dark and full of terrors. But this is where we belong. When the streets are empty and the city sleeps, we keep watch, we keep moving, we keep the lights on. Welcome to the Night Crew. Where the world slows down, but the stories never stop. Stay sharp, stay ready, and ride with us till dawn. The world slows down, but the stories never stop. Stay sharp, stay ready, and ride with us till dawn.
What's going on, guys? You guys are tuning to the Night Crew podcast. Tonight, we are we're not necessarily on an episode. There's a news story that's been going on in the internet, and it continues to gain traction. It continues to show up on my feed. Some of you guys have asked me about it, and I said, let me check it out. Here I am, checking it out. And so I did some research, and I felt like this would be a very good podcast and a very good opportunity for those that work private security and understanding what we can and can't do in the private sector. And before we get started, I want to introduce you guys Rise Kool-Aid. Oh, that pull was good. All right, let's give it a try. It's not bad. Not bad. Tastes like Kool-Aid. So if you like purple Kool-Aid, which I never did growing up, this is a good, nice, pretty good flavor. It's got 200 milligrams, very tasty. It's not gonna leave you with a bad aftertaste. If you guys want to pick these up, you guys can find them at your local gas station, or you guys can probably order them online somewhere. But anyway, guys. Okay, so imagine you're going to a city council meeting to ask a question, to be able to stand up and to express your feelings towards a particular issue. Could be political, and in this occasion, I'm gonna say it's political. And instead of getting your question answered, you're zip tied, dragged out by men in plain clothes, and no one tells you who they are. No badges, no explanation, just gone. That's exactly what happened to Dr. Teresa Bornfall in Idaho. And the people responsible were not cops. They were private security from a company with a very, very long history of paramilitary style tactics and zero accountability. And they operate in the state of California, Northern California, and Mendocino County. And that I want to expose a dark side of Lear Asset Management. So I want to talk about them because their name has been blasted through headlines after a chaotic town hall incident in Idaho. But in February, during a political town hall in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, a woman was seated in the audience when she was suddenly approached by men in civilian clothes. These weren't cops. They weren't event staff. They weren't even identified as security. But they grabbed her, pulled her from her seat, and carried her out of the venue while she kicked and screamed, asking, "Who are you guys? Are you his deputies?" What she continued to say, "Are you his deputies?"
Is this your deputy? Is this your deputy?
As Sheriff Norris is sitting there with his camera phone saying, "Get out of here!"
This isn't a sheriff. Excuse me, Sheriff Norris. This gentleman is assaulting me. This man is assaulting me.
Now, let's go.
This man is assaulting me. Is this?
And guess what? That's a valid question. Because in that whole town hall meeting, nobody knew who these guys were. Bunch of guys wearing black jackets, soft shell jackets, and green pants, and black boots, and earpieces. It didn't say CIA, it didn't say FBI, it didn't say DEA, it didn't say nothing, it said nothing. And Sheriff Norris is out there playing the ringleader, okay? Step right up, coming to watch the show.
Welcome to Weber's Circus. Let our gunslinging, whip-cracking cast take you away to the Wild West.
And he's over there pulling the strings, like, "Yeah, come on, that's a little man. Yeah, check her out, check it out. Do. Guys sitting there playing a video game with these guys while they played the clowns in a senseless display of force.
We know the government has been mismanaging money.
And as private security, our job isn't to be the show. It's to prevent one. And when tensions arise at an event, doesn't matter, it could be wedding, quinceañera, bar, nightclub, the right move isn't chaos or confrontation, it's subtlety. we used to do this thing where we had to kick somebody out. Okay, we'd radio, say this guy's a little too drunk. He's bouncing over the walls. He's spilling people's drinks. He's a nuisance. Okay, he's not a terrible person. He just had a little bit too much to drink and had a little bit too much fun. And not everybody is gonna be on the same level. So for us to prevent a fight from occurring, what we did was we go and talk to the bartender and say, hey, we need you to close this guy's tab. We're gonna remove him from the club. And we do that. And we talk to him, say, hey man, hey, can we talk real quick? It's really loud out here. And he's like, oh yeah, he's all excited. He's like, he sees security talking to him. He feels important. He's like, yeah, come on, let's go outside and talk. So we go outside and talk, and we close the door behind him, and we have his money, his change, whatever, and his debit card. And we say, here, man, unfortunately tonight is the end of your night. He's like, what? Come on. I'm a good guy. I just had a little bit too much drink. It's okay. Come on, I'll stop drinking. It never works. And his night's over. And whatever happens after that, that is going to be whatever decision he decides to make, or whatever him and Junk Brain decide to make. Okay. But he's no longer a danger to the nightclub. He's not distracting anybody, and he's not disrupting the business. And that is exactly what we want. Okay. No disruptions. And guess what? No one even knew what happened. No one knew that this guy got kicked out of the nightclub. Okay? We're all in the club. We're all fam here. And that quiet escort outside is all it took. There's no scene, no viral moment, no fight. Nobody even asked a question. And handled properly, I believe that Lear Asset Management wouldn't have ended up on the camera, shamed across the internet, or facing these unnecessary charges. That's the difference between professionals and amateurs. Okay, the extraction of Miss Dr. Teresa was a clear display of inexperience. The guards had zero control over a simple situation. It looked less like a removal and more like they were trying to hog tie an animal. Is the best that I can come up with. And they did nothing to de-escalate the situation, and they made matters worse. And now you got everybody sitting here turning around saying, what the hell's going on over here? Because these guards that were not even identifying themselves this whole time could have done this stuff very, very quietly. But instead, they attracted attention, and now they're got to put on the internet. Now they're exposed for who they truly are as a security company. And had they would have done it right, a proper seed extraction does not require chaos. One guard could be to the left, one guard could be to the right, and they can simply grab the wrist and grab the cup of the elbow and both look at each other and say, yep, and sit her up and calmly escort her out. She can kick and scream, but that control of the wrist and that control of the elbow, she can't move her whole upper body. She might move her head, she might kick a little bit, but guess what? By the time she starts doing all this, she's already the hell of the way out of more issues with other people. Okay. And I believe that if they would have used that type of technique, I believe it would have been enough, controlled, professional, and dignified. Not embarrassing like they're hauling off some kind of animal.
Hi, Teresa!
The moment you disrupt a town hall meeting or a politically charged event, our city council meeting, all the eyes are going to turn. It's quiet already. Okay? Phones start coming out, tensions rise, disorder sets in, and that's exactly what happened. And I get it. It's Republican town hall meeting, and you got some left-wing liberal sitting there talking about whatever the hell she was talking about. But now, if you look at a legal standpoint, her amendments, she was not able to express her First Amendment right, and now that can definitely go in as it's definitely going as something serious. Okay, when it comes to Lear Asset Management, because now they're preventing her from exercising her First Amendment rights. Okay, and you have Sheriff Norris, who had every opportunity to step in and restore order. But he sat back and he watched his henchmen fumble through the extraction like a bunch of ammies, even pulling out his own camera phone while recording Dr. Teresa as she screamed for help. Get out of here! Get her out! Pa fuera! Be gone! That was a moment. As all this stuff was going on, she's kicking and screaming, who are you, the deputy? It was a moment to reassess, then to de-escalate. Reassess the situation. Okay, she's screaming, it's causing a big issue. People are heckling, people are screaming at us. They want us to identify ourselves. Maybe we need to just let this whole thing go and reassess our situation and de-escalate the situation and get the hell out of here. But instead, they stood firm. Double down, dragging her out as the room dissolved in chaos. And what could have been a quiet conversation became a public spectacle. And that whole failure rests on leadership. And after the incident, the police, the city, and the community looked at this incident and said this was not okay. And because of that, the city revoked Lear's license. And their CEO, Paul Tourette, had originally started Lear Asset Management back in 2013 is when they were licensed. And him and 4 others were charged with battery, false imprisonment, and violations related to uniform laws. But the people back in Northern California was not shocked by Lear Asset's exposure on the internet, their fallout. They were not immune to it. People that knew who Lear Asset Management was knew that this is the kind of people that they are.
Is that the type of guy you are?
And guess what California has? Zero oversight on security companies. Lear's reputation in the Emerald Triangle, which is a large national park where cannabis is heavily grown there. And the people there said they acted like private army for hire, working for the timber and cannabis companies to remove forest protesters and illegal growers. And think of camouflage type of uniforms, chest rigs, zip ties, drones, tactical vehicles. It's not your everyday security. I'm sorry. Have you seen any security look like that? I haven't. I'm sorry. I'm lost there. So they use floodlights, and they even use animal screams to psychologically wear down environmental activists living in the trees. Yeah, people were living in the trees. And they've been caught operating near and sometimes on public land with no public oversight, no body cams, no requirement to respond to media or disclose training. Local officials have called them out for pushing past ethical and legal limits. Former law enforcement stated that we don't know if they're doing the right thing, but no one's watching them. Now, their brutal tactics are now finally out in the open. Now they finally have been exposed. Okay. They didn't just use force in a remote area out there in goddamn Emerald City somewhere where little Toto was running off. No. They brought it to a political space, a public political space at that. And this is why it matters, because when private security crosses the line from protection to paramilitary intimidation, we all feel that blowback. It's another kick in the nuts for the private sector when you got knuckleheads like these guys leaving the state to go operate somewhere and finally expose themselves. Because they've been operating since 2013. And they've been doing this. And I told you guys, every freaking time, you are who you hire. You're going to hire military style? You're going to find plenty of them like that. This is not security. This is not protection. This is intimidation. This is false imprisonment, false arrest, copy. And we think, can BSIS get involved in Lear Asset Management's role that occurred in another state? I believe, yes, BIS can absolutely get involved and should get involved in Lear Asset Management's actions. But whether they will is another story. Will BIS waste some time? Will they? Can they? And how can they get involved? And they can get involved because regardless this is outside of the state, the violation of California security law states that operating outside the scope of their licensing, failure to properly identify themselves while performing security functions, unauthorized use of force, employing unlicensed and unqualified personnel, and these are all grounds for BSIS to investigate, revoke their license, and issue fines. Why is it so easy for Idaho to revoke Lear Asset Management's license in state within days? But for the state, for BSIS, all they want is your money. They're not going to revoke your license. You're a good guy. Pay your fees every 2 years. Why not? We think cross-jurisdiction accountability. Even though Lear is based in California, if their conduct in Idaho reflects violations of California standards for private security patrol, for private patrol operators, then BSIS can still act as they should. Moral turpitude and public trust. BIS may act if behavior undermines public trust or shows moral turpitude, even if the incident occurred out of state. Then we might ask ourselves why BSIS would not get involved. And BIS is not a proactive organization, state regulation. They're reactive, just like Allied. Whoa, made me think something there. But anyway, that'll be that. You make my mind go right now. So, unless a formal complaint has been filed, media pressures or incident directly involves California operations, they may not even act. As I looked on their license tonight, their license is still active here in the state of California. They can continue with business. And BIS, we know that they're understaffed and they're very slow moving, especially when it comes to high profile firms that are involved. And what can we do in the private sector? What can we do as citizens to trigger action from BSIS? File a formal complaint with BSIS against Lear Asset Management, including videos, news stories, or legal documentation. Organize a public pressure via social media, petitions, and community support to demand accountability. Submit a public record request to BSIS to learn if Lear has any current investigations or history of violations. I've checked. They don't have any violations on there because BSIS likes to put that little scarlet letter on your damn license to let you know that you're a piece of work. This Lear Asset Management is a very, very dangerous security company. And they have these very, very disgusting ways of handling situations. I try looking at Mr. Paul Tourette and to see where his experiences come from, and I haven't really been able to find anything yet. All I know is that he's owned Lear Asset Management since 2013, in 12 years. So, what can we do as security officers? If you own a PPO, a private patrol operator license, or you own a security company, what are some of the things that we can do so we don't get here? And I don't mean Lear's reputation. I mean for the rest of us in the private sector and private security who are out there trying to do a damn good job and trying to do it the damn right way. Incidents like this reckless behavior, it erodes in the public trust in licensed law-abiding companies. It creates legal and regulatory backlash, which affects the rest of all of us who follow the rules. It makes event organizers hesitate to hire private firms, private security, especially for politically sensitive or high-profile gigs. And I'm sorry, as private security, we need to stand clear away from these politically sensitive situations and subjects. None of our damn business. If anything, that for us to act as private security, the least thing we could do is just sit there by the damn door and make sure that people aren't trying to be terrorists. Okay, I don't know. But maybe politically sensitive events may not be in store for security at this time unless these security guards learn how to de-escalate situations and not turn to confrontation. And it also opens the door for more restrictive laws on how private security can operate. And now I know that Idaho is going to look into this security matter, and they're going to start they're going to start making some legislation on security on a more of a an enforcement, put more enforcement laws onto private security in Idaho. Okay. And honestly, I believe this whole thing, this whole situation sets us decades back in our fight to be recognized as legitimate protectors and peacekeepers. A lot of people stopped hiring law enforcement because they were unhinged and reckless. They started hiring private security to be more of a de-escalative measure. And this proves that we're unhinged. Because while these knuckleheads are out there playing SWAT in street clothes, the rest of us are out there busy writing reports, de-escalating conflicts, and keeping property safe at 3 a.m. Okay? Now, let's change to what really matters. How do we as professionals avoid being grouped in with this type of recklessness? And here's some steps I believe that we can all take to prevent situations like this from happening to me, to you, or your security company. Always wear identification. Whether you're in full uniform or plain clothes with a visible badge. If you guys do executive protection work, you guys wear a suit and tie, people know who the hell you are. You have identifiers. And if you're acting as security, your authority has to be clear. No one should have to guess who you are. Who are you? Are you his She should not have questioned, are you his deputies? But how can you not? Black shirts, black long sleeves, and green pants. Sheriff. Dragging someone out of a building, especially during a political public event, is not something you do without clear legal justification. You always have to ask, do I have the right to physically remove someone? If not, I might need to call law enforcement. Law enforcement is sitting right in front of them. Who do you call now? Get the sheriff. The sheriff is sitting in front of him, so I guess I'm like, who do you call? But document everything. If you're working these high-risk events, I don't know why this one would have been I don't believe this one was a high-risk event. They made it a high-risk event. But if you guys are working high-risk events, body cams or mobile documentation will help protect you and your client. And make sure actions are justified. If they had documentation in this case, maybe there'd be a little bit more clarity. Instead, we got shaky phone footage and a PR disaster. Don't be a cowboy. Security isn't about being a hero or flexing your muscles. Gosh dang it. I've been working out extra a lot lately so I can flex my muscles in the summer so people can leave me alone. I'm just kidding. But it's about keeping the peace. And if your company culture is more this tactical cosplay, play cop, than professional protection, you're heading for lawsuits and you're in the wrong damn business. There's monthly gatherings for cosplay. If you guys want to play SWAT and play cops and robbers, security in its profession, it's not what we are, and that's not what we should be doing. Train for de-escalation. The best security guards, like I had mentioned before, are invisible. Because nothing popped off because you saw it coming first and you de-escalated it. All right? Just like that nightclub. Had we allowed him to continue bumping into people and then ruining people's nights, spilling their drinks, something would have happened, something would have popped off, and the guy would not have gone home the same way he came in. And my biggest things, it doesn't matter if I'm at an event or I'm at a nightclub, I want everyone to leave the same way they came in. Except for women, because their hair gets crazy and their makeup comes down and they're all sweaty and stuff. That's okay. And maybe there's always tissue under their heel. That's okay. All right, they had fun, they had a good time. But I don't ever want to see anyone leaving out of a nightclub with black eyes. Hair on the ground. Weave on the ground. Shoes gone. I want everybody to go home the same way they came in. And for me, that's a win. Okay, I don't do this too often, but when we do event security for places, I could use 5 guys for a place that requires 20. Why? Because I may not have the toughest guys, but they're great at talking and de-escalating situations, and they're great at spotting conflicts before they happen. We see 2 guys, we see 2 girls, kind of at each other, arguing a little bit. We go straight over there. Somebody's already on the radio saying, "Hey, there's 2 people fighting, there's 2 people arguing." A lot of times when we do these events, these people that hired us, that paid us a lot of money to do these events, say, "I shouldn't have paid you guys that much. Nothing happened." What do you mean? Of course. That's why you're paying us that much, because nothing happened. And that's what I strive on when it comes to event security, is that we don't have fights because we already see them coming before they happen. That's all I care about. This Lear Asset Management situation is not just a headline. It's a reminder of who you hire reflects of who you are. If you hire aggressive, you're going to hire aggressive. If you're a felon, you're going to hire a bunch of felons. If you're hiring plainclothes, unmarked, overzealous operators for public events, you better be ready for a fallout. Not the game either, but legal and public fallout. And as professionals in this industry, we need to hold the line ethically, legally, tactically. Because when one company messes up, we all get painted with the dang same brush. Sorry. No, excuse me. Same brush. I'm going to leave you guys with this. Accountability isn't weakness. It separates us from chaos. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys saw the video. Let me know what you guys think about Lear Asset Management. Do you know anything about them? Have you ever worked with them? Have you ever seen them? Did they ever look at you crazy or talk to you crazy? You know, do they look like just a bunch of, I don't know, wannabes? I look at their uniforms. I'm just like, dude, that's like, what the hell is this? Camouflage? Did BSIS give them, tell them that they can wear that? As far as I remember, we have to send our uniforms into BSIS for approval. But they're over there walking around like Muhammad jihads out there, the jihads. I'm looking at them. I'm almost looking at a movie when I see these guys. Saving Private Ryan. Just kidding. Iraqi freedom. Guys, it's been real. You know, we gotta hold ourselves accountable, okay? And we have to look at these. We have to look at these as examples as of what not to do. Okay, and if we have some people on our team that are acting a little bit out of the scope of their job, they need to find a new job where someone accepts that, because you guys should not, and I don't either. So guys, you guys can find us on Instagram at Night's Watch Patrol. You guys check their link tree, pretty much kind of repost everywhere. I do a lot of posting of security matters. So if you guys follow us, you guys will see a lot of updates on security around the world. I try to follow as much as I can. People send me videos as well too. So just to keep everybody in the private sector on board and keep everybody educated and look at other people's mistakes and learn not to repeat that same mistake. So, all right, guys, it's been real for the nights are dark and full of terrors.
This has been the Night Crew.
Stay sharp. Stay safe. I'll catch you on the next shift.